Chris, my feet are so tired from the hike that we just did.
It was epic, but it was
Yes,
long.
It was.
Here, baby, let me rub your feet. Come,
Really?
bring them over here. I'll rub them.
You don't mind?
No, come on.
Well, yeah, I'm going to take you up on that. Here.
How's this? Is that good?
Gosh. Oh, baby. Yeah. Ow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That feels so good. Ow.
This little piggy went camping.
What?
And this little piggy stayed home.
Well, you just totally just ruined that moment.
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Gina,
Yeah.
your feet may be tired, but your soul is wide awake.
It is. Thank you for saying that, honey.
Welcome to The Riveted.
With Chris and Gina. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Gina.
Are you ready for another fun day?
I am. It's early.
Well, it's not that early. I guess it is for you, but
Yeah.
it's a nice morning. The sun
Yeah.
is shining. There's so much activity already happening here at the rally.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Mhm.
great. And we are very, very fortunate to have a new executive council member sitting with us this morning. We just met for the first time, but we did vote for her.
Yes, we did.
And, yes. And I think our votes were the one that put it over the edge.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was totally us.
I think it was.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
that.
You're welcome.
You're
That means
welcome.
a lot.
Yep. We have Rachael Miller with us. So excited to have you. Welcome to The Riveted with Chris and Gina.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hi, we're so excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always fun to have a previous guest give us a referral and say, "Oh, you got to have this person on. You got to have this couple on." And you must be very popular. Well, you are very popular because we got two people that said the same thing. "Oh, you got to have Rachael on. You got to have Rachael on." And that's awesome.
I think
So,
it was more than two, but yeah.
at least two.
I'm flattered.
Yeah.
I'm flattered even by two.
Yes. That was very good.
No, that's wonderful.
Well, we thank you for coming in early. We all have busy days here at the rally, and we wanted to make sure we had a chance to connect. So thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully, this coffee's kicking in. And
Yeah.
Yes.
Coffee?
Yeah.
So I guess you've had a busy rally, huh? Because they did the induction, right? For the new members?
Yeah. We had a really nice rehearsal to make sure everything, flowed smoothly. And I mean, it was a busy day, but it was genuinely fun. Actually,
Mhm.
this
Good.
the community and my fellow board members. It's just been, I don't know, a delight. They've been fabulous.
Well,
with
that's how
towards me.
Airstreamers are.
Yeah.
Were you? Is this your first rally or no?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we were. Well, our first was Sedalia last year.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I will say, admittedly, a whirlwind, right? Sedalia
Yeah.
being our first, and then
To hear.
Right.
being, witnessing my first flag ceremony, and then the second, being in and a part of the flag ceremony. It was an honor.
That was
Right.
what I was going to ask about. That was like, were you expecting that level of production value and an event for your first, time being on the executive council and what you had to do for that part of the ceremony?
Well, yeah, there was some level of expectation, mostly just because of what I saw at Sedalia last year. But this year, admittedly, still getting my sea legs because Leon does the bookings and I do the driving.
Oh.
Okay.
And so he had organized the schedule. And I had only realized, oh, wait, we're coming in on a Saturday and rehearsals at like 10:30. So we were one of the folks that arrived and, paid a little extra fee the day before.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's still a little bit getting used to, but
Sure.
I'll be
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like you have to be here the day before any kind of activity you have. So you have time to get settled in, get a lay of the land, whichever rally it is, so that you get a lay of the land and figure out what's
Yeah.
going on.
This is our first international, and that was just as a observer, being able to see that opening ceremony, which was really special, and then to participate in it. I'm sure that for you it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really neat and just neat. I mean, honestly, when they turned the lights on for the auditorium and
Yeah.
just seeing
See all the
everybody.
people.
Yeah.
That was very exciting just to see how and the cheering
Yes.
groups, and there's clearly like certain groups of people who are just really enthusiastic about the support they were offering.
Right.
Each person who's carrying a flag. I love that kind of community stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So we always ask people their entry point into Airstream, where you were in life, what you don't have to get into super juicy details.
Oh
but
no, you have to. I love the juicy details.
Juicy.
But
Yes, that's the best.
like what, was it a grind? Was it like I gotta take this job and shove it kind of thing, or like what, whatever it was, but like where were you, and then what caused you to say, I want to get an Airstream?
Yeah, well, I had no true prior background in RVing. I grew up camping, but we were a tent family. And then my parents bought like a used vintage pop-up, which wasn't that much different than a tent.
Yes.
Just a little higher off the ground.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was, kind of what I had growing up. So we didn't really have any RVing experience, but like many people during COVID, learned about different lifestyles. And a lot of people kind of trying out different lifestyles, including, full-time traveling. And, we had already, being an international couple, so my husband's from Australia. I'm from East Cleveland originally. But, when we got married, we lived in Sydney, and then we had moved back. We're living in Chicago. So we had always had kind of this travel bug, to us.
Yeah.
But it was, learning about those different lifestyles during COVID. And then after living in Chicago, we had renovated an entire house that was about 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
And, after being there for 10 years, I'd given up my, downtown commercial office. Everything was remote and, for my practice. And, just living in, big cities, so Sydney and then Chicago for so long, that was starting to have just a health effect, just with the air quality.
Oh, right.
And, so we were kind of already thinking, okay, the city is just kind of a bit much on our systems. And Chicago, they're always tearing down old buildings or whatever. There's mold in the air.
Oh,
There's,
boy.
all the vehicles. So, there was that. And then I experienced a lot of losses. And so with those losses, a lot of the traditions that were local, even just over in Cleveland, just stopped. Right. So we didn't really have those kind of holiday things or anything anymore.
Right.
And Leon, my husband's family, is in Australia. So, there wasn't, that kind of combination set us to explore, okay, maybe full-time traveling. So with that, though, the big caveat was we left a significant beloved community in Sydney. And then we had a significant beloved community in Chicago. And that was the struggle point, right? Of like, how do you foster community if you're traveling full time and you're never in one place for very long? But that started our journey of looking at RVs, how Airstream specifically, the brand, we were looking at, what Airstreamers belovingly call SOBs.
Right.
Some other brand.
Yes.
Units. And funny enough, when we had remodeled the house, we tried to keep it on par with its age. And that happened to be kind of a popular design aesthetic for the SOBs at the time.
Right.
So when we're, your white shaker cabinets and, black hardware and, looking at those, I was looking to Leon going, this just feels like a poor replica of the house we're giving up.
Correct.
And, it didn't help that our salesman was very honest and was like, literally like, these are crap. These are terrible. And he literally was, that was how we went about selling them. We're like, all right, mate, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, okay, so why would I buy from you? Right.
Like, do you know how many of these get, churned out on, in a day? And even specific brands that were on the lot. He was like, stay away from those brands. And,
unbelievable.
He was fabulous in exactly who we needed, because we literally didn't know an A class from a C class from a tow behind, B van. We didn't know any of that.
What is that language? Right. Yeah.
So we literally didn't even know what we wanted.
Yeah.
It could have been anything. So he was very patient with us and ran us through some pros and cons. And
Now, did he also sell Airstreams?
He did not.
Oh.
So
Well,
wow.
sorry, mate. If you ever listen to this,
He's a
I'm
doofus.
sorry.
Yeah.
Because you put a lot of time into us and we didn't buy from you.
Yes.
But we
Maybe someone from Airstream put him in that position.
Oh.
yeah, he's a plant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plant.
it's a plant.
Yes,
Yeah, like, all
let's
these
go
other
with
brands.
that. Yeah,
Man,
I like that.
Quite possibly.
he could have been your best. Or like he did you the biggest favor.
Yeah, you should
by-
probably
think
like
so.
Yeah.
you should probably like send him a gift and say
Yeah.
thanks, dude, because that
That's a
helped.
good point. That's
Yes.
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly a gift because, we're looking around and I'm like, I am not feeling enthusiastic whatsoever about doing this. I don't want to leave my big, beautiful Chicago home. It just was not, that you're not feeling
Yeah.
kind of settled in your spirit kind of a
Right.
thing. Like, and again, it's no shade to anybody who has some of these other beautiful, units and rigs, but it just wasn't the right fit. And so, we one day were like, well, let's see how the wealthy do it, right? Like,
Oh.
that was our attitude, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's
Let's go and see what that looks like.
yeah, and so we went and we were looking, and the unit we're in was the unit that was on the showroom floor, and this was 2022, so there were no units available on anyone's
Right.
showroom floor. I think we bought one of the 2 trucks in Illinois available
Wow.
as our tow
Yeah.
vehicle at
Wow.
the time. And, we were in it and didn't even know if it was available or not at the time. But, I looked to Leon and had a complete opposite response, and went, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Better get our wallets ready because
Right.
this actually feels exciting. This is the first time I've felt
Yes.
excited and interested. And I think as far as the physical element, it was, yes, Airstream and, the quality. And we were looking for a smaller environment that we could manage and, move it to wherever, we were feeling good and
Right.
fresh air and oxygen. And it doesn't have slides. It's, it's this aluminium or aluminum shell. It
Right.
doesn't leak. And, so that was it. But also I was like, it's not trying to be a house.
Right.
That was the thing for me. It's not trying to be a house. It's just being an Airstream.
Yes.
And for some reason, that was a significant element for me.
Yes. No, we had that same feeling.
Yeah.
Like
Agreed.
I didn't want to buy a camper and feel like I was in a living room, somebody's living room or
Yeah.
kitchen or something. I wanted to feel like I was camping. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted
And-
that feel, that clean line,
Yeah.
very simple. That's what I wanted. But Airstream, as soon as we opened the door, we felt the difference in the quality.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like to
Mhm.
your point, in that 2022 time frame, you're looking at some of the other brands that had the white shaker cabinets and that kind of stuff. Well, we were shopping in 2016 and 17, and then the trend was dark brown leather
Dark,
and
so
big
dark.
wood moldings.
Yeah.
And
Right,
it was
yes.
like, it looked like your den from 1998.
90,
You know,
old, all that
And-
darkness. Yeah.
and we definitely didn't want that. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, that's good to hear you say.
And we will be right back.
Hey Airstreamers, Kevin and Deborah here from No Locks, and we're here with an important public service announcement. Don't be a slammer. Your Airstream door should close easily, no slamming required. And if it doesn't, it's time for a little No Locks love. We offer professional door service across the country. Check our schedule at nolocks.shop to see where we'll be next. And if you prefer to DIY, our Striker Bolt, teamed with our premium lubricant, makes your door close smoother. We've also got pain pins for those sticky windows, our door kit to keep you from getting locked out, and our step brace to steady those bouncy steps. You'll find these and so many more Airstream parts and products at nolocks.shop. Your one-stop shop for smooth rolling down the road. No Locks, keeping your Airstream doors happy, smooth, and slam-free.
And listener, when you reach out to Kevin and Deborah with No Locks, be sure to let them know that the Riveted with Chris and Gina sent you.
And now back to the fun.
Had you had any prior knowledge about the brand history or just quality before you decided to go see what the wealthy bought?
I know, and I was, and it's so funny. I always hesitate to say it, because it's that was the impression we had, right?
Right.
And I remember being in our pop up and being intense as a child. I made a little friend. And her family had one of the motor, I guess, what would we call it? The motorhome ones?
Yes.
They had one of those. And I remember as a kid going in their Airstream, I was like, what is this spaceship thing?
Yes.
As like a kid, like, what is this?
Yeah.
And that was the impression of like, all right, well, there's another class of RVs out there. But before that was it. That was literally my only experience was that brief random childhood memory. But so looking at him, it was apparent, like you said, like just opening the door, you knew, okay, there's a big difference.
Just the door itself.
Yeah.
I mean, once you open it and step in, you're like, whoa, like this is it.
And that was, and surprisingly, that ended up being the unit we ended up with and we were living in for the last 3 years. But
That's awesome.
I would say the other 50% of it was, the salesman, he was discussing some of these things with us with a great sense of pride around, the brand. And he had told us, go on to Facebook and explore some of the Airstream groups on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh. And then he mentioned, there's a club and there's an entire community behind this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, here, right, that was the other piece of the puzzle for me was that, how do you do the community thing this way? And so went on to Facebook and, learned a lot real quick through some of those groups. And that ultimately is what put it over the line.
That's really cool to hear. I mean, I really think you just saying that resonated and for me to think back of any of these other conversations. And we've talked a lot about people picking which Airstream they wanted in the buying process and all that kind of stuff. But like to hear you say that you did research on the community before you decided to purchase an Airstream, and that was one of your deciding factors. Yeah. That is a point that I don't know that anybody's said yet.
I don't think we have heard that.
We've heard people say they've purchased an Airstream and then discovered how awesome the community is after.
Right.
But to know that you actually were seeking that out and found it and let it be, wow, this is going to be great. It's going to give me an awesome RV and the community both. And then that's why one of the reasons you decided to choose an Airstream.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It really was truly made, the other half of it. And I think, well, that's even why, some of the, aims even with the club now, with the board is fostering relationships with dealers so that they can share about the community element that comes with it and the club, because that's all a part of it. And that's what brings the Airstreams to life, I guess,
Yes.
So yeah, that was, the big part of it. And then out from that's where, I had noticed, there wasn't a full, like a Facebook group for full-timers, and recognizing in some of the big conversations, that, there really was kind of a difference between, a weekender's needs and a full-timer's needs.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And so I started the full-timer Facebook group, which has grown and thrived. And in Sedalia last year, we had, let's just see, let's just throw out a casual meetup. And they wanted more, so we ended up having 2. And I think in total, probably, between the 2, over 50 folks, came. And that made the online connection be the in-person connection. And from there, have mates we've traveled with, we've stayed with.
That's awesome.
Like there has been, we have neighbors now.
Yes.
So full-timers, but we've got neighbors even though we're moving around. And that really is what then made the full-time Airstream lifestyle sustainable.
Yeah. Gina, why is it that we haven't joined the full-timers Facebook group for Airstreams yet?
I have.
You have? Well, why didn't you tell me to join?
Well, that's not my responsibility.
Well, I'm going to do that right now.
You are? Join it right this minute.
Right now on the recording, I'm going to do it. So let us ask what kind of Airstream you have.
It's a 2022 27-foot international.
And you got it new.
We got it new.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, so is it a queen bed or twin beds?
Queen.
Queen bed.
Front
Yay.
bed queen.
Front
yeah.
bed queen.
Yay.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
good.
We like both, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
have
there's
this
pluses and
ongoing thing on
minuses.
here. If it's twins or
Queen.
queen, yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
Everybody
Mhm.
likes to know. Mm-hmm.
and the one that was in the showroom and they didn't have much inventory. I mean, you still fell in love with it. You didn't feel like you were settling and just getting what they had. Like it was a good fit for you, and yeah.
It was interesting because we did do the rounds. One of the difficulties, was that actually getting to see the floor plans in person.
Yeah.
Especially at that time. And it was, these rigs were on order for months and months and months. But, you can, folks put down their deposit, they can get it refunded. So you can ring around, you can ring up, the mothership and go, okay, what units do you have on the line where that have been unclaimed? And that's a faster way to get them. But actually that was then still kind of all in theory in an online, printout floor plan. So we found other dealers that had other floor plans that were claimed, but they had gotten permission that we could,
See
peek
'em.
inside and
That's
look. So we, I think at one point it was like 3 hours one way we drove to see. It was like one of those things that you need to scratch the itch, like to say yes to this, I need to see what I'm saying no to.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it was like, all right, we're doing all this exploration. It's time to go. Houses, it had one showing. I mean, it was COVID, so one showing, and it was gone. So it was like, all right, we got to make a decision. So we rang him. We're like, so what about that unit on the, that was sitting on the showroom floor? Like, is that claim? And of course, the salesman's response was, yes, by you.
That's a good answer.
So it kind of felt like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been happy with it. We have done a couple of modifications
Okay.
to make it work better for full, our full time.
And what did you do?
So we did the classic, the most I mean, I don't think it's out of turn to say the most popular mod on a 27, which is placing a cabinet on the end of the
Long couch.
the long couch.
Yes.
Yeah. So we put a full cabinet in there with a countertop and that, it's where all my yarn lives for knitting. But and then all the plant. Leon thought we were gaining extra counter space, but it's the home for the plants.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all that fits on there.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we did was half of the dinette is on, kind of on the end, kept by the rear door.
Right.
And the dinette half that's on the side with the entry door, we took out.
Okay.
And I put my office chair there. And
Oh, nice.
then
I'd like
we
to see that.
put a different same counter, same wood butcher block that was on the cabinet we put in. We have as the table now.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
that's the desk. So my work monitor, which also subs as, a TV, or it can swing. It's on an arm that sits on the end. So you can push it all the way back, or you can swing it either direction to use. So that's works
is-
really well.
Is that the spot you were sitting in when you did your Candace video?
It was,
It was?
yeah.
Very
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
So,
I like that. I like that
was.
background you had
yeah,
there.
that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the macrame and the plants.
The plant,
and-
yeah,
yes.
the plants.
I
Yeah.
like it. Yes.
So the plants you have how do they travel? Do you have to do something special to travel, or do they stay put like where you have them?
Well, we're actually
Because I have a funny story to tell you
Yeah.
after that. Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to finding a better solution so that our pack up time is less.
Yeah.
I'll admit my plants are the big culprit and why it takes us a minute to pick up when
Yes.
we move. But the shoe tub that a lot of the units come with that are in the drawer, that tub was actually in the base of the section we took
Right.
out.
Sure.
So we use that, and we sit them all. They're kind of crammed. We sit the ones that fit in there, and those ride on the back seat of the truck. All the air plants all go. There's 2 separate little stacking things
Yes.
that they go in, that go away. When they're put up, and then we have a 6-foot rubber tree, and
Whoa.
Wait just a minute.
Whoa.
Hold on. All right. You have a 6-foot tree that you carry around with you.
Yeah. It's a rubber plant.
Doesn't everybody?
It's a rubber plant.
Yeah. Doesn't everybody, Gina?
Okay, listener,
This
that
is
is
great.
the first we have had on here.
Please
Yes.
tell us more about that.
Yes.
Forget
Please.
the story I was going to tell. This is a
Yes.
much better one.
You have got to go with this whole tree story and how you
stories,
travel.
though.
Yes.
Yeah, well, look, and admittedly, this rubber plant looked significantly better when it was in the house than it does now.
I would imagine that it's been beat up just a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate. The fortunate thing about rubber trees, they're pretty tolerant of being moved, of light, of water sources. Like they're pretty tolerant. But
Is that
the
because they're
leaves-
rubber and they bounce off?
Yeah.
No, I'm just-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like we don't even have to strap it down; it just
Right.
bounces around. No
Awesome.
damage. It's
Yeah.
rubber. But the leaves are such that once they get a little bit of damage, they'll weep, and then they, it looks very sad very quickly, and then. Then the other one, so it's had a few unfortunates. It looks pretty good though, and it's grown a lot since it's been.
Well, it's still happy then if
trailer.
it's growing.
Yeah, and thank goodness for that, because how we strap it is we bungee it to the end of the dinette.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's, the mod we did has 2 legs, and so
Yes.
you put the pot up against the 2 legs
Yes.
and kind of bungee it, and the thing sways around as it feels. But
Yes.
that meant the lower half of it is kind of sheared off all of it.
Oh, I bet.
It leaves whenever we hit a bump because it's at the back.
So they're
of the
going down the
trailer,
road
so-
good. Whoop, there goes the rubber tree.
Yes.
So what? So when you are set up for camp and made to get settled in, where is it on then?
Well, the initial theory, anyways, was that it would be outside.
Yeah.
Most of the time. We underestimated how tricky and extreme the weather seems to be all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, we apparently still don't have the skill of timing with where we are and what the weather's doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although, we have avoided some pretty nasty stuff. But
Mhm.
so it's in the trailer more than we planned.
Okay.
And it is on wheels.
Yeah.
So we just get wheeled
Just-
around and
Yes.
Yeah.
moved out of the way. But when it's outside, we have a clam, and
Oh,
like
And it
our
sits in
Yeah.
there.
it kind of doubles
Okay.
our living space a little
That's cool.
outdoor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It goes out there and it makes it feel
Yes.
a bit more like
Yes.
living roomy. I
That's
guess.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, being that? Because we're always stopped, like whenever we stop to get gas or something, somebody inevitably comes over and says, "Oh, can I just peek inside?" I've
Oh,
never
really?
seen one of
Yeah.
those. Yeah. Could you imagine pulling up next to her and say, "Can I peek inside?" They open the door and there's a tree.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Okay."
It would too, because it's right in front of the door.
Yeah. It's like, there it is.
that is a wonderful, wonderful story.
Yeah.
Um,
We're definitely coming down to see
We
your
gotta see
rig
it.
in this tree.
is it outside now or is it inside now? Is it
It's inside.
inside now?
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
Now, do y'all travel with pets as well?
No,
Okay.
just the plants.
Okay.
Well, the pets
But-
or the plants?
Well, yeah, because she was saying it was on wheels and move it around.
Yeah.
I thought, well, if they're moving it around, it's just like a pet moving around. Yeah, in the place, right?
Yeah.
So the fun little story I wanted to tell was the one other folks we knew that traveled with plants at a significant level. They were not Airstreamers, but they loved to cook, and so she had a traveling herb garden.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, and pretty significant one. I mean, that was a lot of different herbs, and they were all in their own pots. And she had a system of how to get them outside. And
Yeah.
they had somebody from the campground one time. We were there. We witnessed it. They came walking up to visit, and they didn't know them. They were strangers talking. And their dog peed on the herbs.
Oh no!
Just cocked its leg and peed on the
no.
She wasn't very happy
She
about
was
that.
not very happy
Boy,
about that.
yeah, you want to
Yeah.
really wash those before you.
Yeah, but
Put 'em
she
in your
had
next meal.
them sitting out like
Yeah.
from their front door, just kind of off to the left, which is at the front of their rig.
Yeah, and
They
it
just
was
walk by and
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
it was in
no.
a spot where that could easily have happened, you know.
Yes.
But oh man, it
Oh
was.
man!
And I was like-
well, that makes me wonder then if it had happened unbeknownst.
yes,
it-
probably
it might
could have.
have. Yeah,
Very
they
well
were
could have.
they weren't
yeah.
home, and it happened without their knowledge.
You'd have no way of knowing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
But
that
they
is-
could. Yeah, I looked at Chris. I said, maybe we shouldn't eat their herbs anymore. We never thought about that. It was fun.
That's always the risk of having them outside. It pests as well. Like, and then it only takes, one plant cutting them and you bring them back in. That was the big hesitation. The great thing about the rubber plant, the rubber trees, that they're not prone to pests. So that's why that one gets to go out. Where the rest of them, I'm like pretty precious about. I'm like, because it's pretty common to put them outside, put them on your table, whatever, so they get the sun.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm just going to be strategic in what I've got so that, I don't bring anything icky inside.
Well, we don't have any rubber plants, but we have 2 nice plastic plants. You see, these are our plastic plants. They're hanging in the window.
Thanks for pointing that out, babe.
Yeah, they do good.
Yeah.
And then Gina we did have a cool little air plant. It
I
was
had
small.
2.
Yeah.
I had 2.
And-
One didn't last a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was already bad when we got it.
Yeah.
And then the other one.
But it lasted about a year.
Yeah. And sometimes I like to talk with my hands, and it was hanging right here above Gina's head, and I just was talking, and I boom and hit
Went
it
flying.
and it busted all to pieces. And yeah.
Oh, really? It did?
I mean,
it was in a shell. It was in like a little shell, like
Yeah.
a triangle, kind of the way it came like this,
It was
and it spiraled down, and
Looked
then
like
the
an ice
plant set up
cream.
top. Yeah,
like an ice
Oh,
cream
right.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just shattered.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah,
that,
it's okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, man, I mean, truthfully, our air plants get punted all over the Airstream all the time.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah, they'll fall out, we'll knock them out, or when
Yeah.
we're putting them in and out, like when we're getting ready for travel, they, they fall, whatever. But
It was.
Wow.
that poor
I got
thing.
I
We'll
got
have
in
to come
big
look.
trouble for that one. Big
Yeah.
trouble.
I was trying to keep that one.
I know you
but
were.
It's okay.
Yeah, we'll get you.
We'll
another
get
one.
more. Yeah, sometime.
So, couple years now, Airstream ownership and full time. So, what's been your experience so far? What's been your favorite trips? Where you been? What's that kind of experience been like?
Yeah, we really love it. I find that a lot of full timers, including us, there's just a sense of lust for life, I guess. We don't want to say no to anything. So when you're full time, you really kind of don't have to. And I
Right.
think that's what I love about it the most. I think what really took getting used to is once we sold the house, that notion that's kind of a strange feeling of there's nothing to like return to as far as like to maintain.
Right.
Right.
That it's okay. This really truly kind of is territory of we can do whatever we want.
Whatever you want.
And that is also very special. I don't
Isn't that freeing?
It
I feel like it's freeing.
It feels good, doesn't it?
very freeing. Yeah. It's a great way to put it. And, it's interesting because psychologically, I think a lot of people actually find that element intimidating. That it's like, oh boy, if everything's kind of open ended, where are your anchor points or how do you set direction? And for me, it was like, ooh, this is like, I love that feeling of like, I can just, it is open ended.
Right.
That's super exciting. And, it can just keep changing. So I love it a lot. I really have no desire to stop. I think the challenge was the community piece. But then once we, really started building these just amazing relationships, that I think I'd said earlier, gave it longevity, right? Because that was the piece that was missing.
Right.
What we've discovered we really enjoy is the desert.
Yes.
We just fell in love with the desert. And when we're not there, we feel kind of called back to it.
Yes.
So, some of our favorite places were Marfa, and that whole area, Big Bend.
Right.
I loved Big Bend because it has all the beautiful things that a lot of the major parks have, but it wasn't crowded at all. So you could really enjoy it and just be, with yourself, by yourself if you really wanted to. I'm trying to think what else we...
Are you set up to boondock a lot with your rig, how it's set up? I mean, can you camp off the grid or do you not like that?
That's one of our goals.
Yeah.
So we're not fully set up with it yet. We just, we just installed recently some batteries, but we need to, get more solar panels and
Right.
so upgrade a few things. So once we do that, I'd like to.
Well, I tell you, the reason I asked that is because if you enjoy the desert, and we love it, and some people think that the desert, it's brown and it's dusty, but I'm telling you,
It's
when
not.
you
It's
get out there at the right
beautiful.
time of year and it's so gorgeous, when you can also enjoy the desert by getting out there in it off the grid, it's going to take it to the next level for you.
Yes.
It is. It's unbelievable.
That sounds amazing because, like our other favorite places, like the Joshua Tree, Twine
yeah.
and Palms area.
Yes.
And, there are those moments where, you just drive way out and, I'll just stand there in just this silence, which is kind of interesting because I'm a very social, extroverted person.
Right.
But having those moments where you're just like,
We couldn't tell that at all.
but it's like you have those moments where it's like the scale of things.
Yeah.
And I guess that was when we went to the Bonneville Flats, it was kind of silly, where
yes.
you're just like standing and just the sheer
Yes.
scale. And there's something
Yes.
about the perspective that comes with that. And then the silence, especially after, and the quiet, especially after living in major cities
Yeah.
for so many years, is just, it's so great.
And the big sky. I
Yeah.
love the big sky. I love the air. You can just be
Yeah.
one with yourself and with the universe, and you don't have all the chatter. You can just inhale and take it all in.
And-
I love that.
And this may
absolutely.
sound silly, but some of those locations that you're talking about, the scale and the silence and that kind of stuff, you can feel that silence. I think,
Yes.
like you can be
Yes.
standing there and looking out over a beautiful piece of land that is vast and massive and unlike any place you've ever been, and yeah, you can feel it. You can feel that you're in a place that is like very unique, and it's not not developed, not a bunch of people around. And you're enjoying the landscape, and that you feel it, I think.
Well, I have
Yeah,
to say
absolutely.
that even though we had a lot of people around us we were in Jackson, Wyoming when the eclipse hit in 2017,
yeah.
August 21st, 2017. A lot of people were around, but I think we were sitting out in this field. The Tetons were right behind us.
Oh, wow.
The sun here, and they have pronghorn everywhere. There's moose there. There's these little bugs or insects, and I cannot think of what they're called at the moment right now. But whenever they're in the grass, and whenever they fly up and go right back down to the grass, they don't just fly long distances. It's kind of like they're hopping, but it's a good distance. But whenever they do that, they make
Like a popping
a
sound.
clicking sound.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't think of the name of them right now.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. But anyway, all of this is going on. We're all sitting out there, we've got our champagne ready to, pop, and all this kind of stuff, just waiting. There's huge telescopes, cameras, all this going on. NASA's out there. All these astronomers are out there. So it's
Amazing.
busy.
Yeah.
It's busy. There's a lot of activity. Everybody's waiting, and you're waiting and you're waiting. But as the eclipse happened, everything got silent. The animals laid down. They got very silent. The bugs quit making their noise. Everyone was silent. And that was so powerful that day. And that's the first time we'd ever experienced that with so many people around us. That's the feeling we get when we get out in the desert and we're alone, and we got the big sky and you got the Milky Way, and everything's just peaceful and quiet. And, you just kind of like absorb it, like, just not just through the eyes and the ears and stuff, but through your skin, through your being. You're
It's
just like,
powerful.
oh, wow. Yeah. And for people who, don't get out and see that or get to experience that, they don't really understand it, but it is very powerful.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a great comparison. I think that was one of the things about that, the eclipse moments, that they, how everything kind of goes quiet and there's that silence, and then the crescendo of everything kind of waking back up again, so to
Right.
speak.
It does.
As
Just
it
a couple minutes,
passes.
and then
Yeah.
it's back. Yeah.
It's a great comparison. It's relatable as far as like when you're out just standing and you're this teeny tiny point on the map in this huge, vast land, and how it really is. I agree with both of you. You know, it sits on you, like you feel it.
It does.
Had you traveled to some of those parts of the country before you were an Airstreamer, or did the Airstream take you there?
The Airstream took us there. So, you know, like we had done, you know, some local travel, and then, you know, had done, you know, trips and road trips or, you know, flying. But, you know, I think one of the things that I actually really loved about the full timing was enjoying my own country of origin, right? The going, wow, this place really is quite incredible. Like, we've got a lot of really amazing things.
Yes.
And, you know, when you're grinding and, you know, commuting downtown and, you know, doing a thing, you know, I didn't, you know, that wasn't something that I got to take in that I now do. And so, yeah, I'd say the Airstream, you know, is really what, you know, opened up that lifestyle factor and able to see all of this stuff. And I've seen, you know, I think I was joking that like in the first year of traveling full time in our Airstream, I think I saw more than I had in my whole life. Like I'd taken in more of the U.S. than I had in my entire life up until that point.
Yes. Well, there's so much here to see and understand that I don't feel like we'll do it in our lifetime. But I have to shamelessly say that I did not realize we had a rainforest here. I did not realize that until we got out into the Pacific Northwest. Did I realize that it's an actual rainforest that we have here? You know, I always wanted to go to a rainforest, but I thought I was going to have to go like, you know, into a different country. And that was like a whole new world for me. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. But then we went out there and oh, that was the coolest thing. Ferns on the ground. Like I've never seen ferns on the ground. They always are hanging, right?
Hanging on a front porch in the Southeast.
There you go. They're hanging on that porch. Yeah. With some sweet tea. But that was amazing to me. And then that kind of started opening my eyes to, okay, what else have I missed? You know?
Yeah. You know, it's, I think what I've loved, the introductions I've loved is all of the different landscapes and other worlds that we have, you know, within our borders that, you know, like just, and we haven't even begun to, you know, Mexico and Canada, right, which I hear amazing things as well. And we haven't even gotten to that point yet.
Yes.
And so, you know, all the kind of otherworldly scenes that there are to, you know, from, you know, the Bonneville Flats to Great Sands to the rainforest to, you know, the desert. And it was that. And then it was also meeting other people that have different ways of doing life.
Yes.
That was the other thing that I really have enjoyed getting to know, that like even our arguably unconventional, you know, way of living for the last 3 years. Right. There's so many more ways in addition to that.
Sure.
That we've been able to engage with people on. And I just love hearing people's stories and where they ended up and why, and, you know, just our choices and what, you know, different opportunities that brings. So that's the other thing that I've really enjoyed exploring.
Yeah.
And it's, the Airstream is kind of like the component that is causing all that stuff to happen in your life right now, you know. Or a lot of it anyway.
Well, you know, she has her home with her wherever they go. So
Let's shift gears here a minute and just chat about your kind of your reasons for volunteering at the level of volunteerism you're doing with the executive council, like
pretty quickly from becoming a new Airstreamer.
What was that motivation?
Yes. You know, I suppose I learned that I was, even though I'm not the only full timer on the board, but I think because I was a lesser known person, I was called the nomad candidate, and I think it was a little bit like, there's not a lot of face recognition, right? You know, for people outside of, you know, the footprints that, you know, where I am in the full timers, but
been around.
Yeah. So, you know, it was one of those things where, you know, I had a moment where I was like, well, I don't want to be, you know, too big for my britches here and make any assumptions. But at the same time, because the club had given so much to me, I wanted to give back. And in thinking about what I love doing and where I think my specific skill set is and my trainings and background and everything, and thinking through it, you know, that I felt my time was best served doing something like governance and leadership, and because I just love it. It works the same way my brain works, and it's a great fit. So that was, wanting to get more involved in thinking through, well, what would be the best use of, what I can bring. And then that was where I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens here. I'll have a go with this. And, a couple of other folks had encouraged me too, and, really, held my back through it, which was amazing. And here we are. So that was kind of, the thought process behind it. But it really is an honor to just represent, other club members and try to kind of honor, what people are wanting and what their hopes are for the future of the club, and how we can represent that and bring it to pass.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah.
It's going to be a busy year.
Yes.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
I am. Yes. In fact, a good friend of ours, she had asked me, she's like, "You sure you'll have the time? You're pretty busy." And I was on a different board at the time, and my practice and staff and all of that. And but I ended up with I cleared the schedule. I rolled off one of the board and I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Made sure there was a time there. So yeah, I'm thrilled about that too. Just how it worked out. I mean, there was intentionality behind it, but
because you are still working.
Yes.
Yeah.
All remotely.
Yeah. So I'm a psychotherapist, and my specialty is in psychotraumatology. So basically, the neurobiology of trauma and just difficult life experiences and how that affects daily life. Right. And really, I mean, it's kind of arbitrary, but this 80-20 concept of 80% of how we respond in a current situation is actually based on prior experiences. And only about 20% roughly is what's actually happening in the moment.
Right.
So what we like to work on is, all right, how do we manage the 20%, but also how do we, desensitize and kind of integrate and move beyond. So it's the 80%. So it's no longer informing the day to day.
Right.
So that's, really evolved into, a couple of arenas. I have my own caseload. Up until recently, shifting gears, I had several full-time staff, that worked at the practice, and then a lot of psychoeducation work overseas, doing psychoeducation stuff. A great example, one of my favorite things that I did and utilized my husband's skills as a digital artist is, we worked for a charity over in Nairobi that did. In fact, Angelina Jolie is one of their major, kind of sponsors, and they take in refugee young girls and women from Darfur and Democratic Congo and, South Sudan and some of those places, displacement from war and rebel activity brought there. And they're, one of the things that I love doing with some of these organizations is they will invest a lot of, philanthropic funds, and they have these beneficiaries. But often the element that is missed is the mental health and the trauma recovery piece. So we'll set you up with skills, micro loans, you know what I mean? Like schooling, housing, all your basic essentials. And in working with some of the executives and explaining to them psychoeducation behind how this works and what this does to the brain, they're like, well, that's the missing piece, right? Because we're throwing all these funds and we expect a certain outcome, and we're like, but the outcomes aren't being met.
Right.
And this is the missing piece. So developing curriculum for the staff, helping them structure it in a way that's safe for the staff to engage. Because a lot of them also, and partnering, always partnering with local folks, right? So they are, speaking to their own communities, but, and then the material that goes straight down to the beneficiaries. So, and so I did content, my husband did, a lot of the artwork that's culturally sensitive,
right.
Certain use of colors.
Yes. You have to be aware of all that. Yeah.
So I love that work. So I kind of go across a couple of sectors in mental health, but
that is very impressive. That's awesome. I mean,
Chris is like, I don't even know what to say about all that.
Oh, it's just wonderful. Well, I mean, what I'm hearing from it is you've got somebody. What I'm hearing from it is that you've got someone that at that kind of level of profession understands humanity at a level that as you're joining a large club of like-minded people, but you can just you understand people and how to keep that cohesive unit happy and help, and I that's what I picked up from that. And so I could only imagine that's going to be a great skill set you have as you volunteer for the club as a whole. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Chris? We're all just a little bit off center.
I just think that like next year.
I'm totally off center.
I mean, me too.
Next year at the international rally, when everybody rolls in and we're parking 300 trailers a day, and some people are struggling to get in their parking spot, and everybody's frustrated and all that kind of stuff. She'll be able to you can be on the parking team, and you can be there with us, and you could make sure that they stay centered and chill and happy, and get everybody parked.
He's a good bullshitter, isn't he?
I mean, Gina, I feel like you have some of those skills as well.
Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Yeah, they call that our therapy couch right there. Yeah. I'm like,
I don't think it's a therapy couch.
No. Kind of feels like you just want to just chill on
it's
it.
Pretty cozy.
It is.
As we wrap up, I've had this question since the beginning in my mind that when you guys lived in Australia, and this was before your Airstreaming days, obviously, but did you ever see any Airstreams in Australia that you can remember?
I don't recall seeing any. I know there are some.
Yeah.
But there's not many.
Right.
But and that would be mostly like just people talking about their Airstreams in Australia online.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them, and I know one of the things is we've seen some that have imported them where they've put in a second door on the other side.
Oh, right.
I mean, if you get a Euro trailer, some of them they do.
Yes, they do that.
Have it, but So I think there's only I've heard rumor there's like maybe 5
right
on the whole continent of Australia.
Wow.
How many years did you live there?
We were only there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. But we, go back not as often as we'd like. And we say, Leon's a real Australian. I'm just the permanent resident still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
But yeah.
What about kangaroos? Do you see kangaroos?
Yeah. Lots of kangaroos.
That'd be so fun. That'd be so fun. Yeah.
I bet.
We have, when we're out west, we see a lot of moose and buffalo, elk, that kind of thing. But I think it'd be something, these exotic animals that you don't think about, but other countries, it's natural for them.
Right. Yeah. It's as natural as, as typical as a deer.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cows.
Yeah.
Here in the South, you're going to see a cow.
Yes.
Well, of course.
Our granddaughter, usually the first words are like mama, daddy, something like that, or dad, whatever. Hers was dog, cow. We're like, where are you getting this from? But that was her first. She loved to say cow.
Yeah.
So we'd go around going cow. Just
Cow.
as southern as we could. Yeah. It was great.
Well, we thank you so very much for spending a little
Thank
time
you.
with us. Wonderful conversation, and happy to know you now. And
Yes.
Thank you again for volunteering at the level you did. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun this year with it.
I'm
And
looking forward to it.
Yep.
Yeah, this has been an honor, and we appreciate you taking the time today because we know how busy you are. But
Same. It's an honor for me to
yeah, well, thank
be
you,
here. Yeah.
thank you. But it's something else or I feel like it is something else for someone so new to Airstreaming in general, but to jump in and just be a part of the community to improve anything and everything to do with Airstreaming is really amazing. And I appreciate that. I mean, Chris and I have been Airstreaming for 8 years, and we've never thought about doing something like what you did, jumping in for, something so big. We were wondering how could we give back to the community, because we do travel so much. We're so busy with constantly moving and doing things that hopefully this is our way of giving back, and hopefully everybody appreciates it. But to get people's stories out there, because there are so many stories like yours that needs to be heard. And
we just thought, to expand on what Gina said, we always thought that, well, to volunteer with the club, you needed to get your feet wet at the local club level and then work through the region ranks.
Yeah,
you know?
we didn't
and
think
since
about
we
it.
weren't ever, we weren't regularly in our local club area.
We felt like we couldn't give anything back.
Yeah, and that
it is a challenge. That was running through my mind. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But
so I
you
think,
just jumped right in, and
that's
we
great.
appreciate that because that's taught us something, and we like that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thanks so much.
I think you're going to bring a lot to the table, so I hope ACI is ready.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'm flattered by the trust of those that voted for me and put me in this position, especially with being a lesser known person. And it was a similar challenge of when we're moving around all the time, it's really hard. It's impossible to be super involved in your local club.
Yes, it is.
And so it really was okay. Well, where might I be best suited? Okay, but I just really, really take very seriously the responsibility and the trust that's given to each one of us that are voted into a position like this. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I feel like anybody who has met you or who listens to this podcast, we have a listener.
We do have one, at least one.
and-
We have more than one now, I think, Gina. After this week, I think we're going to have more than one.
You think maybe 4 or 5, something?
But the listener appreciates it too.
I feel
think.
like that they will really feel like they know you better and understand kind of what your goals are and from the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what? You know what just popped into my head that I think's cool.
What's cool?
So now that we've had this visit with Rachel, we now have all the people that were up on the stage at the opening ceremonies. We now have 6 that have been on our podcast.
Wow,
we
that's
we had 5
Yeah.
prior to today. Now we have 6.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
We're just going right down the line, aren't we?
Yeah. Well,
I love it.
that's not a strategy, but it's awesome that it's working out that way.
Yeah, that's wonderful. But thank you again for being on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You're quite welcome. We'll see you down the road.
We'll
see you around
down
the rally.
road.
See ya.
I'd like to take a moment to tell you about Patreon and how you can help support the Riveted with Chris and Gina podcast. Patreon is a simple, interactive way to support the people who make the content you love. There's no value that can be assigned, so you can enjoy these inspiring stories of Airstream enthusiasts from all quarters of the USA. But there are associated costs with operating the website and hosting the podcast, in addition to the large amount of time it takes to curate and edit each weekly episode. For as little as $5 a month, the equivalent of a cup of coffee or a beer, you can help the Riveted with Chris and Gina become the podcast of the Airstream community. Becoming a patron also means you will get first-to-know details, free merch, invites to special Zoom-based hangouts, and more. The link to Patreon is in this episode description. Thanks in advance for your support and love.
We've come a long way, and I only say goodbye because, we never say goodbye on a caravan, but we'll be seeing you down the road.